someone, specifically a man, held open a door for you. If you're anything like me, you probably run through it really quick and mumble a thank you and go on your way. If you're anything like an extreme feminist, you probably give the guy a dirty look, maybe say some nasty remark, and tell him that you're too independent and you don't need him to hold open the door for you. I personally like it because I think that it's just a nice gesture. I don't think he's trying to show dominance, and I don't think it's a sexist thing. I actually found a meme on the internet that stated, "Chivalry is dead. Holding the door open for me is an attack on my independence." For those of you that don't know, feminism is the belief that women should be treated as potential intellectual equals and social equals to men. My claim is that strong feminists are hurting the female culture rather than helping it. I'm going to go over some disturbing extreme feminist movements and rallies. This includes free bleeding and free the nipple. Modern Women Digest says, the trend known as free bleeding occurs when a woman who is menstruating chooses to use feminine products no longer in exchange for blood to flow freely out of her body, staining her clothing and running down her thighs to wherever it may end up. For women participating in this trend, I think that it's not only a social issue, but it's also a hygienic issue. I don't think that it's socially acceptable, and I think it's kind of strange. The feminists state that it's a natural occurrence, and since it is, they shouldn't have to be forced to use feminine products. Like I said, I think it's definitely a hygienic issue. The Free the Nipple movement is where women go without wearing bras and sometimes even go topless. The feminist reason is that bras were created by somebody who thought that it wasn't really looking right. It's like a shape issue. So my response to this is that if the reasoning makes sense, the feminism reasoning makes sense, but the idea of it is wrong. If from the beginning we found this socially acceptable, this would not be an issue. However, someone along the line decided that women going braless wasn't acceptable, and we adapted to that idea. How would we all react if the roles of women and men suddenly reversed? What if men wore bras and constantly wore shirts, and women went topless? The concept is strange, but if that's how it would have happened, the idea of covering up and men doing that from the beginning wouldn't be strange. It would be normal. I'm not saying that standing up for women's rights is a bad thing. I think it's good. I'm just saying that radical feminists are sometimes taking things too far. Obviously, I'm sure you're probably all a little disturbed by the example of free bleeding. There are some pros for standing up for women's rights, though. Without feminist leaders like Emily Wilding Davidson, Jessica Valenti, and Kiran Gandhi, we may not have the right to vote, and we may still be working on closing the wage gap even more and might not be as advanced in it. To conclude, the examples I gave of extreme feminism movements should be able to change your mind about being a radical feminist. Note that thinking equal pay for equal work isn't you being a strong feminist, that's just a right that you deserve. If you do the same amount of work as a man, you should get the same pay. Free bleeding, on the other hand, is where it's gone way too far. Things like that make the world generalize women as a whole, and they're doing more harm than good. Like New York, as you can probably imagine, like all the cosmopolitan girls go there. It's like, I don't know, that's just kind of a worldly place over there, so, yeah. Yes?
Is this like a big issue? Because I've never heard of this.
I actually heard about it on the news a while ago, probably earlier this year, but I haven't really heard that much about it. I know that it happened over in London, like the free bleeding thing. There was a woman, I actually mentioned her, it was Kiran Gandhi. She actually ran a marathon, and showed free bleeding for, for the women who are underprivileged and may not have the opportunity to use feminine products, but also to show that it's not necessary, and show that it's a natural thing too.
Can you maybe be clear? Maybe I'm not understanding you said you appreciate chivalry, and so are you more against like these extreme pieces of feminism? Do you feel like there should still be feminist activists in our society?
I definitely think that you should stand up for what you believe in, like, without someone along the line saying that we should have the right to vote. We wouldn't have that right at all, and we would still be, like, not working to close the wage gap as much as we are now. So I think that we need people to stand up for it, but doing extreme things, like having gigantic rallies and crazy movements like the ones that I mentioned, I think that's a little too far.
Do you feel like that is more detrimental to the feminist movement than it is helpful?
It makes people think like, oh, all women think that they shouldn't use feminine products, that we should all just go natural. But I thought of a comparison, like, just like urinating is a natural process doesn't mean that we should just do it and let it go. Like, you've got to take care of it. Anybody else? That was a very open topic, so.
All right.